Hello and welcome to another painting tutorial. This time I am painting Frodo. And we start off here with stage 1, which is leaving the waistcoat cast black, the jacket painting over with a scorched brown, the trousers also leaving cast black, the cloak we will paint with a Dark Angel's green, the sword, if you're following this, is going to be last, but if you wanted to, you could do it with chainmail now, and the flesh is Talon flesh, and finally the base coat of the hair with scorched brown. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different to my previous videos, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the character in the game. So, to begin with, his points value. Frodo is a points value of 65, which is a lot higher than any of the other hobbits in the Fellowship. And the reason for this is because he has a might, a will, and a fates value, all of 3. Now, might represents a hero's ability to perform heroic feats, which means you can basically change the roll of the dice by adding or taking away points equal to the value of your might. Now, will represents the hero's ability to employ or resist magical powers, and each point is worth 1 dice. Finally, fate represents a hero's destiny and as such preserves him from harm where ordinary heroes would otherwise die. So if a hero loses a wound, then he can expend 1 or more of any fate points to recover that wound. And I am thinking of doing some videos on might, will and fate points. So if you are interested in that, would you leave a comment below so I know that people would actually enjoy watching that. Now in a couple of seconds we're going to come up to stage 2 of painting, which begins with layering the waistcoat of scorched brown, washing the jacket, which previously was scorched brown, with Badr black, layering the trousers of scorched brown as well, then doing the cloak with a wash of Devlin mud. The sword will be layered with Mithril silver if you're doing it in stages, and the flesh will be a wash with Organ flesh. The hair will finally be highlighted with Beastal brown. And now I shall look at Frodo's characteristics in fighting, strength, defense, attacks, wounds and courage, all of which define this as Frodo the character. So starting with the fight value, which consists of 2 numbers divided by a slash. The first number represents his martial skill in hand-to-hand fighting, and the second number is the shooting value, which is indicated by the minimum dice roll and warrior needs to score a hit with a bow or with a long-range weapon. And for Frodo, this is a 3/3+ score. His next value is in strength, which is a 2, and Frodo's strength value indicates how strong he is and how powerfully he can strike his enemies. Next down the list is defense, which again for Frodo is a 3, and this indicates how tough or resilient he is. Next is the interesting bit, how many attacks can Frodo dish out in close combat each turn, and unfortunately this is only 1, unlike some other heroes which may have 2 or 3 different attacks. Equally as important as attacks are how many hit points he has, which are indicated by wounds in this game, and Frodo has 2, meaning that he can take 2 damaging hits before he dies. And next we come to one of the other reasons why Frodo is such a high point character is his courage, and his courage value shows how brave and determined the warrior is. Now to get an idea of how good Frodo is at this, the average is about 3. A warrior of a courage of 5 or more is very brave, and a warrior of a value of 3 or less is rather timid. Now Frodo's value is in fact 6, so he is very brave indeed, meaning that he's going to pass his courage tests a lot more, and he's not going to retreat as much in battle. Now like might, will and fate, I might be doing videos on fighting, strength, defense, attack, wounds and courage values, so please comment in the box again if you would like to see some more of these. Now back to the painting now, which we're about to hit stage 3 in the video, and stage 3 involves painting the waistcoat with the highlights of Beastal brown, the jacket with a highlight of dark flesh, the trousers are highlighted with Kermit brown, the cloak is layered with Dark Angel's green, the sword again in this stage is washed with Badr black, and buttons base coated with chainmail. The flesh is then layered with Talon flesh, and the hair is a wash of Devlin mud. Now at this stage I'm going to talk a little bit about Frodo's war gear and what he carries into battle with him. And first of all, we're going to talk about the weapon you can see what he's carrying right in his hand in this model, which is Sting. And Sting can be added to Frodo for an additional 15 points. Sting is a magical blade that shines with a blue light when orcs are near. When Frodo carries Sting, he adds a +1 to his strength characteristics, giving him a strength value of 3. In addition to Sting, for 25 points, Frodo can also have a Mithril coat, which in the films is also known as a Mithril vest. Now Mithril is a rare metal that is as light as a feather and as hard as dragon scale. The wearer's defense value is increased by 3+, in Frodo's case from defense 3 to 6. Now the last piece of war gear that Frodo can carry, and all the Fellowship can carry, is an Elven cloak, and this comes at a price of 10 points. Now what the Elven cloak does is if you are partially concealed from view, so if you're in scenery, the wearer cannot be seen at all from distance more than 6 inches away. This means that enemy archers cannot shoot at ranges greater than 6 inches unless they have complete clear view of the target. So they're not in scenery basically. And that is all the war gear that Frodo can carry. And now we're going back to the painting at stage 4 with a waistcoat wash with Devlin mud, followed by a highlight of snakebite leather. The jacket is a fine highlight of commando khaki. The trousers are a wash with Devlin mud. The cloak is highlighted with snot green. The sword is highlighted with mithril silver. The buttons are washed with badar black. The flesh is then highlighted with elf flesh, and the hair had a fine highlight of beastal brown. Now there's not much time left in the video, so I'm going to quickly go through Frodo's special rules. Each hero has a different set of special rules that define them as a character as well. So Frodo's first special rule is that because he's a hobbit, he's resistant to magic. And this means he gets to re-roll a will point if he fails the first one. But you can't re-roll a re-roll if that makes any sense. So he only gets one shot at re-rolling. His next special rule is that because again he is also a hobbit, he also is able to throw stones if he does not move in the moving phase before the shooting phase. And his last special rule, the one that he shares with Gollum as well, is the One Ring rule. Frodo can put the One Ring on at any time during his own movement phase and become instantly invisible to all except the ring wraiths. This means he cannot be shot at, and that he can also move through other models without going to the combat with them. If the ring has already been worn, then the good player must roll a dice immediately before he moves. This is because on a score of 1 or 2, the evil player may move Frodo instead of the good player. On a roll of 3, 4, 5 or 6, the good player moves Frodo as usual regardless. Now if the evil player gets to move Frodo, this does not mean that he has now switched sides. Frodo is always a good player. It just means that the evil player gets to move him. The good side still gets to use him as the shooting phase and the fighting phase. This represents the struggle between Frodo and the will of Sauron. Now this also means as the evil player can control Frodo during the moving phase, he can also control if he can remove the ring or not. For this, Frodo must pass a courage test, no matter if he's on the good or evil side. And the final part to the One Ring rule is, if Frodo is the only model left on the good side, and he's wearing the ring, he counts as a casualty. This represents his mind has been taken over by its power. As many scenarios depend on him surviving, this is very important. If the evil side objective is to kill Frodo, this is achieved, but only if he is wearing the ring and is the last model on the good side. So that's all you need to know about Frodo, and as you can see, he's a very interesting character. And now I'm going to go back to a little bit about the final stages of the painting here. Okay, so here I'm starting to paint the sword, which like I said I left to last. And the reason I said left it to last, like I said in the war gear section, was that Sting is a magical blade that shines a blue light when orcs are near. So basically I have experimented with getting a light blue metal tone to the sword. Now I followed the instructions all the way up to the part with the badar black wash, and then on the last section I've done a mix of Space Wolves Shadow Grey with Mithril Silver to create a light blue metallic paint colour, which then I only applied to highlighting the blade. And I believe it came out very well, even if I do say so myself. So that's about it for this video, and all I can say is thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more of my videos, and please comment on the subjects that I have previously mentioned in the video. Thank you for watching again, and bye bye.